Dear Venomfangx, we seem to have reached the consensus that you have no significant understanding of science.
The Bible is the most scientifically accurate book in the entire world.
It's a shame that you poured so much intellectual pollution into the media prior to figuring this out. I think at this point the moral thing to do would be to offer a sincere apology and to delete the offending videos, or to make it clear in the description that they remain only for historical reference and that these videos have no academic credibility.
So Thunderfoot, the reason I wanted to debate you is because, well, I wanted to bring you kind of out of your science bubble and show you that there is a world outside the scientific theory, the scientific principle, the scientific method, and you're not thinking outside your little bubble.
The bubble I live in is called reality. In reality, science is a track record of success. Indeed, our first world civilization is just a monument to the intrinsically godless process called science that you have declared to be so limited. Meanwhile, all religions have a track record of non-achievement for several thousand years. Indeed, it may well be argued that the only tangible benefit to civilization is by the feel-good factor it provides to people who would rather be happy than right.
You know, I know this steak doesn't exist. I know that when I put it in my mouth, the Matrix is telling my brain that it is juicy and delicious. After 9 years, you know what I realize? Ignorance is bliss.
Religion makes people feel important. It makes them feel loved. It makes them feel righteous. It makes them feel good. Regrettably, as you so correctly state, it is entirely speculation with no grounding in reality. Unfortunately, religion is also a remarkably broad psychosomatic drug, and makes people feel good no matter whether they are helping baby squirrels or butchering women and children. We are doing God's work is merely the pervasive battle cry that can be used to justify anything. As an example, take how you use the little power you have to censor people.
As for you, Satan, I censor the comments, so there's nothing you can do. You might as well give up.
And to prevent them from rating your videos on a medium whose primary usage is communication. This speaks volumes about your character and what you are willing to do for your religious high.
Woo-wee!
It is truly unsettling to think what actions you would be capable of with any real power.
Now, Thunderfoot, I'm sure you're aware of this, but the scientific method cannot be applied to God. If the scientific method is what we can repeat, observe, and test, well, how can you observe, repeat, and test something that exists outside of the physical world?
You describe God as unknowable, and then make all sorts of factual statements about what you have just declared to be unknowable.
God doesn't lie. Since God lives forever, we can know that God doesn't sin, and you have sinned against a holy and perfect God.
Are you familiar with the words internally inconsistent? Well, I like the idea that you're using your imagination, Venom, but you might consider applying it to a task that serves a purpose, like solving a problem in the real world that has benefits for real people, you know, like science, rather than pointlessly speculating about what you have declared to not only be unknown, but unknowable. You might as well be pontificating about the number of angels that can fit on the head of a pin, or what kind of pizza the invisible pink unicorn likes. It would serve exactly the same benefit to civilization. This is why religion has never achieved anything ever, while science has delivered you the first world standard of living you take for granted. Now, I don't actually have too much problem with recreational drugs, whether they be neurodepressants like alcohol or psychological like religion, or whatever deprived kinky shit consenting adults get off by engaging it, as long as it doesn't scare the horses or become a significant problem for civilization. After all, having fun is a large part of what makes life worth living. However, without our first world civilization built on scientific discovery, it really is pretty difficult to have fun. What with the famines, the diseases, freezing to death in winter and whatnot, science is the big enabler for making life enjoyable. Your religious efforts, Venom, involve attacking the scientific method that built our civilization. In the big picture, it's difficult to think of a more antisocial legal behavior you could engage in. In simplistic terms, you are engaging in an activity that fucks over our future for your own personal gratification. Now, I have no problem with you getting your kicks out of your fantasies, but when these fantasies involve pissing in the fountain of knowledge that we all depend on for our survival and our quality of life, someone has to explain to you that you're being an antisocial jerk.
The Bible is the most scientifically accurate book in the entire world.